Bon dia, jo em dic Lillian Weitzman I soc de Brookline, Massachusetts. Good morning, my name is Lillian Weitzman and I am from Brookline, Massachusetts. I have studied broadly during my time at COA, but I have focused my study of human ecology on language, specifically language diversity and preservation and the relationship between language, culture, and place. Language and culture are closely related, for language is a vehicle for transmitting and communicating culture. We are living in an age of rapid language loss, and the loss of each language represents the loss of greater cultural diversity. Here at COA, I have studied language and the importance of linguistic diversity through classes, tutorials, and independent and group studies on both individual languages and the broader topics of linguistics and language revitalization. I also participated in the Yucatan program, and I have used my senior project to further examine these themes. My senior project is titled Casa Nostra. Casa Nostra is an idiom from Catalan, the language on which I focused my project. Literally, Casa Nostra means our house, but it really refers to Catalonia, a region of Spain. In Catalonia, language, identity, and politics are closely related. The issues of autonomy and independence are always present, as evidenced by the piece of graffiti in this photograph. All of the photographs in this presentation are my own, and they are included to provide a visual representation of Catalonia. Catalonia is located in northeastern Spain, the area shown in red, though Catalan is actually spoken in several regions, as well as in Andorra and parts of France and Italy. Catalan is a Romance language closely related to Spanish, French, and other languages originally derived from Latin. The purple on the right-hand map represents Romance languages other than Catalan, whereas the yellow represents the area in which Catalan is spoken. In Catalonia, both Catalan and Spanish are official languages, meaning that the society is officially bilingual. I conducted my senior project in Catalonia's capital city of Barcelona. In addition to being a bilingual society with both Catalan and Spanish history, Catalonia, and Barcelona in particular, has become a center of immigration from around the world. For my senior project, I conducted interviews with 12 immigrants from South America. The immigrants I interviewed each spoke Spanish as their native language, but they had also all learned some amount of Catalan. I sought to examine whether learning Catalan, the regional language, as a second language, helped create a sense of belonging in Catalonia. I spent this past winter in Barcelona conducting these interviews and learning beginning Catalan. I was awarded a Catherine Davis International Advanced Travel Award to fund my trip. I also received guidance from a COA alum, Hannah Semler, who helped me find housing and put me in touch with the research organization that advised me while I was in Spain. I conducted and transcribed my interviews in Spanish, and though my final written report is primarily in English, I included the quotes in both languages and summarized each section in Spanish. In my project, I wanted to examine the interactions between the promotion of a local language and immigration from around the world. As I analyzed my interviews, several themes emerged. Many people discussed language as a way of better understanding the place and its culture. However, they also impressed upon me the importance of recognizing the histories and cultures that immigrants bring with them, of recognizing immigrants as individuals. I'd like to share a few of my informant's quotes. Paula, a textile engineer from Peru, was one individual who spoke of language as a tool for understanding. She said, "Our learning the language helps us not only integrate, it also helps us understand one another, and that they can also understand us." For her, the language was not only a way for immigrants to better understand Catalans, but also for Catalans to better relate with immigrants. Sophia, a psychology professor originally from Venezuela, described an interaction she had with some of her students. They said a very curious thing to me. They said to me, "In Catalan, you're Catalan, and in Spanish, you're Latin American," as if I had changed my way of being. Her quote highlighted the extent to which language and cultural identity are related. Sergio, who came to Barcelona from Peru, where he'd worked in development projects, offered a critique of the way Catalan society views immigrants. He said, "This multiculturalism also has to express itself in multilingualism. If you want me to also recognize your language, you also recognize what I, as cultural values, can have." Language preservation will not work if it is unidirectional. It must be part of a broader appreciation of linguistic and cultural diversity. Conducting and analyzing these interviews has emphasized the importance of pluralism and linguistic preservation existing side by side. It is essential to preserve the world's cultures and languages, but it is also important and necessary to recognize the values of the cultures that immigrants bring with them. Studying in Barcelona has shown me the importance of, potential for, and challenges to preserving local languages in today's world. Muchas gracias. Many thanks to everyone who helped me complete my project. I'd be happy to take your questions now.
How much literature is there in the Catalan language, and how important do you think literature is as opposed to spoken language in maintaining that culture?
The question is how much literature is there in Catalan and how important that is in the culture and in the cultural preservation. The answer is there is quite a lot of literature. Catalan has a very long literary tradition dating back to, I want to say, the 11th century, around when the language first started to emerge. It's pretty much always been a written language. And I think that's definitely had a big effect on their ability to preserve the language. Catalan, as compared to a lot of regional languages which are losing speakers and have very few speakers, Catalan has a literary tradition. It's also quite similar to the other languages, to the Romance languages that are more dominant. So it's easier for people to learn, and it's easier to show it as prestigious. So Catalan doesn't suffer from sort of a lack of prestige that a lot of minority or indigenous languages do face, and that's a challenge for them in preserving their languages.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay.